question is like, how specifically would you increase transparency? So like, would you expect your members to come to you? Would you reach out to them? Would you have like a template or platform for them just to see it? Or how would you like go about like letting people know like what type of finances we're working with on Size Nationals?
I plan on probably sending out an email bi-weekly about what we're doing with their money. I know members start paying for things such as like just being a member the first couple of weeks of school, and so just having like an estimate or a preview of what we're going to be doing with their fees would be a good idea.
Well, like you said, well, I think it starts with initiative, so it'll be on me to reach out. And also, I agree with Emma. Like, I would try and incorporate a little treasurer thing inside the blast, so and then the members and the e-board can see what's going on with their money.
So my question is, have you spoken to the current treasurer, and then to what extent have you spoke about current problems with our money for this past year, and then have you spoke about like future visions for next year?
I have spoken to the treasurer, but we didn't go into detail about the problems and about his vision for next year. But I will work on doing that once I'm in here.
I did reach out to Mohammed. Some of the issues he brought up were planning ahead. He said that that's very important. But in terms of issues and everything that he did run into this year, that was not discussed. But like everyone has been saying, planning is very important. Those are things that you have to do anyway.
So, one thing with treasure is that you get to handle a lot of money. So, being able to allocate where funds are being spent is very important. Do you have a general understanding of the major costs associated with the role, and how would you plan to use the rest of the money for the general body?
Wait, say that one more time.
So, dealing with this position, you get to use a lot of money. So, do you have an idea of how you allocate funds for the chapter? Maybe even a general idea of like the biggest costs associated with the position, and then with the rest of the money, how do you plan to use it for the general body?
So I know some of the biggest events that we do have are bringing in people, having academics excellence events, and so on and so forth. And so reaching out to those current members or those e-board members as to how much they may need for the year is very important. And what we do with the rest of the money that we may have for the academic year, and seeing how that would fit to the general body. Probably finding out what things that they would want first, like I've been saying, but also just not using all of it, but seeing if we can save it, finding what we can do with it, and seeing if we can grow that for the next year.
In terms of me, I know that the conference is one big thing that we have, and also I'll work to figure out the cost of that. And food is always a constant at our meetings and our events, so there's also that expense. And the main thing I would stress is basically just having like a savings, like a rainy day type thing, just in case if anything goes wrong. You never know what could happen. So I would stress having like a savings that we wouldn't touch besides the other expenses that we need to use for.
Yeah.
So my question is, you would have to handle the dues, the chapter dues for students. How would you collect the chapter dues in a timely manner, and how would you effectively communicate about paying national dues as well?
How would I collect that? I would collect that through Cash App, Venmo, and also a cash, and I would note where the money was coming from. So if someone pays me through Venmo, I say it's coming through Venmo. Say they gave me cash, or I say they gave it through Cash App. And sorry, what was the last part of the question?
And how would you communicate to the to the members of the chapter about paying national dues and the importance of it?
Well, I'll start stressing that early on, so it's not a rush to get all the members money towards national. And I know sometimes we put some people on a payment plan, so if they hear about this earlier, they can save up and avoid that, or they can prepare for that payment plan in a timely manner. So the earlier, the better. And then also, I would prefer to give them a range of when it should be due. It doesn't have to be a hard due date, but a set range would be good.
So I agree on electronically collecting money. I don't think cash would be the best idea just because of like depositing money. It's harder to do so that way. And in terms of how to stress national dues, okay. And I know I started doing that at the beginning of the semester. I think even in the summer, just because we were trying to get members to be verified before convention. And so just constantly being on their back, sending emails, sending texts, whatever method may be best, is a way to show them that national dues are important.
What type of applications will you use to keep track of savings and budgeting, as well as money being spent?
So I use Excel. I'm an old person, but I feel like I can visually see the numbers that way. I know there are other applications out there, different apps that people use, but I'm predominantly on Excel.
Yeah, I would use Excel as well, and Google Sheets, just because when you input things, they can also display graphs and things, so it's easier to see where everything's coming from.
So I have another question. So, as college students, we're still not financially responsible in a sense. We're still growing, we're still learning. So instead of, how would I rephrase it? Who would you go to for advice for finances other than the previous treasurers?
So in terms of like the organization, I would reach out to Helen to figure out to learn some advice. And also, if I know that we have a financial center here, I'm not sure if they'll be able to offer good advice in terms of organization, but I'm sure you can apply some of the things they give you to what we do. So those are the two resources I would use.
So I agree, do go see advisors. I know that in the business college, they do have financial advisors in which you can get help from, and they're willing to help any student. So if I did find myself running into an issue monetarily, I would go over there. There's also Google.
I have like two questions. The first one is like for A and B. So like, what do you think your role is as treasurer? And in that role, how important is it for you to be collaborating and openly communicating with the rest of the board?
What? One more time.
So what do you think your role is as treasurer? And in that role, how important is it to openly communicate and collaborate with the rest of the board?
What my role is? Okay, so as treasurer, I know that I would be responsible for handling money, seeing where it's going, how I can purchase things, etc. And how I'm communicating that with the e-board is I do know we have weekly meetings in which we all get together and meet, just mentioning what I did with the money from whenever I got it, what I'm going to do with it in the future. And then also just documenting where expenses are being made, making sure that everyone has access to seeing where the money is going from.
So communication is extremely important, because communicating with the e-board, if they don't know how much money they're allowed to spend, maybe they might overpay for things or make programs that we couldn't necessarily afford. And if we do have that money, communication will let us put on bigger programs if we're able to afford it. And in addition, also just what comes with the position, you have to budget, and then also go to the ASA office, and then you have to check the expenses just in case if there's a mistake as well. We don't want to lose money just because someone misses something, and that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Okay, so let's say for some random reason we have a company, they give us like $2,500. How would you go? What's your next steps after like that money comes in? Like not in terms of like what happens with the money, not those type details, but in terms of like your interaction with e-board, transparency, the class, all things you were mentioning. So what were you gonna do? What would you like to
Well, first I'll let the e-board know, like we got a lot of bread now. And basically we have to think in terms of the future, so definitely save a portion of that. We can agree, I can communicate with the e-board and we can agree as a group on what to do with that, essentially, just besides saving how much we want to spend. And we can also, in terms of communication to the general body, if we're putting on a big event, we'll be like, hey, we got a lot of money from the sponsor, so just, yeah, basically.
Okay, I feel like letting everyone know that you got this amount of money is important, but seeing what we could do with it, first see what events we have missed on, and seeing if we could help pay for those so they can actually come back. And what to do with the remainder of the money is, again, saving it for either our convention or FRC, and then using the rest of that into activities for the following year.
All right, so with that, we are out of time. So, yeah. Thank you.